Global expertise from San Fran to China. We are core consultants, not your average miner. DSC and Darba now confined to the house. And so now we bring you core from the couch.
Hi, I'm Lara Smith. You're joining me from my couch in Israel under lockdown. I'm here with Helga van Lochem, who's from TOMRA in South Africa. Good morning, Helga. How are you?
Morning. Fine, thank you.
What's happening in SA?
Well, SA is on 21-day lockdown, so I am picking up my pace, and I'm speaking to people more than I probably ever have. It's just a whole new kind of technology. So we've got to keep it going. We've got to keep positive. We've got to hope that it ends in 10 days' time, and then hopefully it's business as usual. Otherwise, we're going to all go nuts here.
Right. And so business as usual, TOMRA is a German company, and you've now got offices in Johannesburg.
Yeah, so we're Norwegian-based listed company, €1 billion a year. So we are a big player. Mining's only 5%, 10% of our business, but we have been up and running very successfully in South Africa for a good 10 years now. Very big on diamonds. I mean, most diamond plants don't even start these days without a TOMRA machine. So the best is diamonds, but it's the other commodities that I'm responsible for. My colleague Jeffrey does the diamonds based from Germany. That's our head office. But in South Africa, I do all the other commodities as such.
Right. So, and you're working on chrome primarily right now, right?
Yes. So lucky me or whatever, we kind of saw chrome as a bit of an obvious one, purely because the eye can see the difference between chromite and peroxenite. And in terms of sensor-based sorting, we could separate it. So if you can kind of separate it with your eye, we pretty much have the technology to separate it mechanically. So that's the idea. We happen to be using XRT, X-ray technology for that particular commodity. And we're doing nicely. We've got a couple of machines up and running now in the Eastern Chrome limb, and it's working nicely. We're getting good results. The guys are 40% chrome, small to 8% in the waste. So yes, it's nice. We're all excited. We think it's the beginning of a long-term rollout. We think there's nothing stopping us to do all the chrome business in South Africa, considering we're inferior here. We've got about 80% of the world's chrome. Yes, LG6 the nicest, but as you go from LG6 to MG to UG, we just have to be a little bit careful. But if it can be done, so we've proved it absolutely categorically that X-ray is the answer. There's no water. I know DMS has got its place in terms of spirals, but in terms of rock technology, we deal with rocks, not powder. We can see it. The machine is smart. It sees it. It knows the difference between chrome. It knows the difference between peroxenite.
That's my dog, people. This is what happens when you work from home. That's my dog. Wanting to come into the video. You can't come in. No. All right. So, but basically, TOMRA is very involved in sorting the ore so that you don't have to mine everything, and that reduces the cost effectively.
So the plan of action, I know the new technology and the new words everybody uses is selective mining. So in a way, we are kind of counteracting it. So instead of selecting just the chrome seam very specifically, you kind of allow with TOMRA to just blix them the whole lot kind of thing. You can take the whole lot and the TOMRA machine will sort it up front. In theory, it'll increase the throughputs. You don't have to be so specific. And then the beauty of it all is obviously be getting rid of the waste up front way before you start putting chemicals and water. It's completely dry process, which is a big thing these days in Africa. It's completely dry. And the idea is that the footprint of the plant should be half. That's the idea. So we get rid of half the rubbish up front, and then you don't spend all your money processing waste. So we're in the waste business, actually. I mean, it sounds but we're in the waste business. That is really our game. You're trying to get rid of the rubbish up front so you don't spend the money on massive ball mills and massive systems, which is a little bit silly.
And it's very interesting that this lockdown in one way could end up very positive for South Africa's chrome mine. I was speaking to one of the traders yesterday, and he was saying, if we just do the maths, China, which is now up and running, has is running down their inventory, and there's no chrome to replace that inventory right now, especially if South Africa extends that lockdown period. And so what we'll then see is the price. We've already seen the spot price increase. That was a lot of panic buying. So we've seen the spot price increasing. And the question is whether that will be sustainable. But what we'll find then is that companies will look to reduce costs any way they can once they are up and running. And so it sounds like TOMRA taking that always up front. Yeah. And I presume it's not so energy intensive either, which is a big concern for South Africa.
Yeah, we're doing some comparisons as we speak, but in principle, from what I'm seeing now, it's half the energy. I mean, really, for those old drum DMSs, you know, we replaced one now in the Eastern Limb, and they were talking 400, 500 kilowatts compared to our 200. So it's half the energy. You know, at the moment, it's still to be confirmed, but it's pretty much half the energy. And we know Eskom's pulling back. We know there's no water. And people, as much as it might be considered an expensive piece of equipment, I think people buy when they're in trouble. I mean, I know that's a bit disrespectful. Yeah. People only buy when there's something awkward, it's uncomfortable, we've got to get better, smarter, quicker, sharper, whatever that is, you know, and maybe that's the incentive. It sounds a bit ruthless, but that's what business is about. You know, we only really fix and change and look at new stuff when we're burning, when there's a problem. And that's kind of good for us. I know it sounds a bit ruthless there, but it's good for us because people no longer have those resources available. We don't have access to all this massive water. We don't have access to this huge electricity. You know, electricity is expensive, we know. And as you say, most of the stuff I think is going to China. I think it still was up until 2 weeks ago. The gates were open, but as you say now, the gates are closing from this side. But I suppose the minute we open it, and I'm hoping in next week, they lift a little bit of the mining. You know, they at least say, we've got to mine. I mean, it's a commodity. It keeps our GDP going. We've got to mine in some way. I don't want people all sitting on top of each other. I agree. But, you know, our machine it's got one operator. We're not sitting on top of each other. You feed it in, goes through the little black box print in principle, and there's your product and there's your waste. I don't see, you know, I'm hoping the corona doesn't stop that kind of process. It's not very human intensive. And that's the whole point of animating, of using, automating these days. Is, you know, that's the thing. I know it sounds horrible again, to get rid of kind of the human. So the human element is not controlling it. And therefore you could almost stand back and let it run itself. And I suppose that's what
the trend is towards automation and towards modern mining methods. So TOMRA then plays right into that. And maybe just before we go, so TOMRA has expanded into South Africa recently and in a big way. And I was in your offices in Johannesburg, and you've got a lot of capacity there, and it looks like you're growing. You're in South Africa. There's been a lot of negative publicity around South Africa. Ironically, coronavirus has brought one positive news to South Africa in terms of the way we're handling it. Where do you see South Africa? What do you see as outlook?
Well, most people are a bit nervous about a European technology. Oh dear, the spares, and oh dear, every time we need something, we've got to speak to Germany, and you know, so that is now over. So we keep all the spares here in Longmeadow. We've got a big offices, as you saw, and we will have a test facility soon on the floor. We've ordered the machine. It's still on the ship, and we will be able to show people. So it's training. So we're able to train people. You know, that is a big thing in South Africa. Yes, we're very heavy on our service level agreements because people are a little bit, oh, it's a black box, and oh, it's a computer. Well, so is this a computer, but never mind. So I think it gives people confidence that they're not this isolated place at the end of this huge continent, and the Europeans are doing what they're doing and there's no connection. So I think it's a very nice connection between us and the European office, and we are very able to fix the machines ourselves. We have all the spares here in South Africa. We're here to stay. TOMRA is investing in South Africa. It shows you investing, as opposed to a lot of the European companies are pulling out because they're all nervous. TOMRA sees opportunity in Africa. TOMRA sees, you know, TOMRA sees there's lots of opportunity here. It's a massive continent. There's lots of resources here. in theory, all about resource revolution and saving the planet, but I know that's a bit warm and fuzzy. It's almost contradictory to mining. But that's the background, you know, we're in reverse vending machines overseas and recycling. So I think we've linked waste to profit. And that sounds a bit weird again, but we've done that in Europe. So we've done that in America. We've done that in Australia. We might be a little bit behind here in South Africa, but we're in trying to get rid of waste. Let's reuse waste. Let's not abuse the resources we've got here in South Africa. That's the kind of intention, which is nice. I think that's got a nice feel to it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Helga. Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck in lockdown. And
Thank
yes,
you.
we do hope that we restart next week or the week after for sure.
Yes, I need to go and pick up rocks. I need to go to mines. I need to go and see visual stuff. The sitting at home is okay for now, but it's enough.